You're watching Chron On. We'll have more news for you after the break. Several Marines were killed and a number of other American military were wounded in an attack on Kabul's airport in Afghanistan. This is a developing story and more information is still coming in as officials are trying to determine exact numbers of casualties. Joining us now with the latest from Washington is Bay Area Congressman John Garamendi. Congressman Garamendi, thank you for taking time out to speak with us today.
It is a tragic and extremely sad day. We've been concerned for some time about the potential loss of American military personnel as we undertake one of the largest ever evacuation programs. And it's happened. We've lost American lives in this tragic bombing. And now we got to try to figure out how do we get the rest of the Americans out. It's going to be a very difficult day and a particularly bad day for several families in the United States.
It's also tragic. Do we have, I know obviously this is a developing story and the numbers will be coming in, but as of right now, do we know how many people have died, whether they were Americans or not? Do we have the number in terms of casualties?
Well, we do know that several Americans have died. The number the first number I heard was 2, and the most recent numbers are higher than that. We do know that maybe as many as 50 Afghan citizens were killed in this suicide bombing. We don't know the exact numbers, but it's a bad situation, a very crowded area. And which the Americans were trying to control access to the Kabul airport. So here we are, and what was anticipated, hoped would not happen, and efforts were made to avoid that. But you can see on your screen the American soldiers reaching out to help Afghans as well as Americans escape a very dangerous country.
Our soldiers are all so incredible and so brave. I mean, this is what they sign up to do, and they put themselves in such the line of fire to help, innocent people like this in another country. Is this, was this rather, this attack or this whole situation, in your opinion, avoidable?
Well, there's a lot of ways you can answer that question. We do know that the pullout of American troops from Afghanistan began in the Trump administration. We had some 12,000 or more troops there just over a year ago. And President Trump pulled them out, entered into negotiations with the Taliban, and agreed that all American troops and military contractors and other support personnel would be out of the country by May the 1st. Biden came into office in late January and was faced with the question, can we get everybody out? Should we get everybody out by May the 1st? He extended the deadline until actually mid-September, and then announced that all American troops would be out by the end of August. I don't know that anybody expected the total collapse of the Afghan government, but it did. It simply collapsed. 2 weeks after President Ghani and the executive officer were at the White House and lunch at the Capitol, where they assured us that they would fight the Taliban to the death, and all they needed was American money and American intelligence and some air support, all of which we agreed that we would supply. 2 weeks later, the Kabul government, the Afghan government, simply collapsed, disappeared. Ghani left town. We still don't know where the number 2 guy is. But the fact of the matter is there was no government, and the Taliban simply walked in, totally unprepared and in no position to control a city of some 4 million people. At that point, Biden made a decision to bring back into Kabul some 5,000 or more troops to help and to lead the extraction of Americans and others. To this date, since the 1st of August, over 100,000 Afghans, Americans, other country contractors and the rest have been evacuated in one of the most difficult and largest evacuations ever in the history of anywhere. All of that done basically within 10 days from the 14th of August until this day. Nearly 100,000 people have been evacuated by the American military and other coalition contractors and commercial airliners. It's an extraordinary piece of work that was done, and done in a very dangerous situation. And today we learned tragically how dangerous it is. Afghans killed, American soldiers killed. And so our hearts go out, our sympathies go out, our recognition of the extraordinary effort and danger that the American military has been in these last 10 days.
Now, Congressman, you mentioned President Biden's deadline. We're seeing reports that he is not going to move that deadline up. Can you confirm that the deadline is still August 31st, or does the violence that happened today change that?
I'm not confirming anything because I do not know, other than the top echelon of the military, Milley and others, including the intelligence community, are meeting with their president now as we're speaking. And they are formulating a plan that must include negotiations with the Taliban to extend or to not extend, to make available secure routes to the airport, perhaps by air or by certain roads. All of that is in the process of being discussed, and a decision will be made by the president with the best information available as of this moment. What we do know is that Kabul is a very dangerous place. We knew that when the Afghan government collapsed. It was dangerous before that. These suicide bombings were taking place on a rather regular basis in Kabul over the last 3-4 years, leading to the tragic deaths of hundreds of people. Fortunately, not Americans, except in a very rare occasion. And so going forward, where do we go from here? The president will make a decision, and that decision will be formed by the very best information available and by negotiations with the Taliban government, such as it is, which is rather unformed and certainly not able to secure the safety in the city of Kabul. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. My own wish and desire is that those Americans that are still in the country, please get in touch with the American embassy. For those Afghans that assisted us over the years, and I do know that my office, together with other congressional offices, have been working with interested people here in the United States, bringing to our attention individuals that are in Afghanistan that desire to leave Afghanistan. And I do know that our office has been very successful in getting those people to the airport and out of Afghanistan. There are still many more that we're working with. We don't know what's going to happen next, but like you, I await the decision of the president and the announcement of what will take place over the next 5 days as the 31st arrives. Will there be an extension? Remains to be seen. Will all Americans be out by that time? We do not know. We do know that the evacuations continue, well over 100,000 as we speak now, and hopefully thousands more in the immediate hours ahead.
And we will definitely be keeping our eyes on the White House. If the president does make an announcement today, we'll have that for our viewers live as well. Well, Congressman Garamendi, we really appreciate you taking time to speak with us during such a tense and tragic time again here in the United States. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.